Welcome to episode 3 of this Let's Play series. It's actually, well, it is a Let's Play series, I guess. It's Marcus Aurelius and I are playing a cooperative game of Legends of Callasia.
By Boom Zap Entertainment.
Boom Zap, yep. And Marcus actually did get to fight the developers in his in the northern regions. He's about to take the land back from them.
Yeah, there was a peasant uprising, and it caught me at a rough time, but I think I've got blue firmly in my sights now.
Yeah, well, they've still got territory, though, so you're going to have to be a bit careful. So I can't see the size of your forces. So although you do have, I can see that you've got big cannons there. So you're saying that they were quite effective for you last time?
Yes.
All right, well, actually, I think everything's right with mine. Everyone's doing whatever they need to do, so Tinker. That's weird. I'll upgrade that. Okay, we'll end turn.
I'm trying to get around my low unit cap by just hiring the best units.
It's not all that effective, actually. It's funny because I've been using defenders and they're middle of the road, and I've been finding that they've been very good at shielding everybody else.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how my artillery does by itself.
Yep, I can't do much this turn. It's a very pure little game, isn't it, in terms of the game mechanics and the way it works. It works well. There's not a real lot of micromanagement.
Yep. And just to confirm what you said, the artillery by themselves, they won the battle, but they weren't able to wipe out the neutral force.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah, I think the mix. I don't really understand how the mix has to work, but it's. I think it is important. All right, moving in. So you mentioned actually in episode 1 that you were playing a game, and I've forgotten the name of it again, sorry, that you were really quite enjoying, which was an old school
yes.
game?
Quest for Glory 4 Shadows of Darkness.
I've never heard of that. What sort of game is it?
It's a old 90s, or yeah, I guess it was the 90s, Sierra Online. Like, they're the makers of King's Quest,
Yep.
Space Quest. So it's like those games. It's like an adventure game, but with a little bit more of a role-play aspect to it, as you can choose between 3 different character types, and the game plays differently. Not substantially differently, but there's parts that play differently depending on which character type you choose.
Oh, okay, yes, yep. And you said it's online, is it? Is it an online game?
No, it's just you have to play it using DOSBox.
Oh, okay. I don't like that. I had to play it once for a game, and I can't remember what the game even was, but it's problematic, isn't it?
Well, it seems to work really well for this game. Like, it's functioning just fine. But the reason I decided to play it was because I played it when I was younger, and so it was one of my favorite games growing up, and so it was kind of a nostalgia tour. And you know what? It holds up. Like, I really enjoyed playing through it again.
It's funny that the old game mechanics are very good. Like, even now, aren't they? It's because when they used to build those games, it was, it was all about the game mechanics. Whereas then we sort of had that era sort of back in the early 2000s where graphics was everything, and I think at the expense really of good gameplay. Don't know how you feel about that, but I'm really liking the games that are coming out now because they remind me of the old games.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. There's a lot of that. I still like the fact that we continue to push forward in terms of the technical capabilities of gaming.
Yep.
It doesn't mean anything without the associated quality of gameplay, but it's still good to see how things have improved.
Yes, yeah, but I think that what we're getting now is the best of both worlds. There was a time there where games really, and I think some of the big AAA studios are still caught in that, how do we make it bigger and better than it's ever looked before at the expense of the gameplay. And the game that springs to mind at the moment is the poor reaction that, for example, the latest Call of Duty got. That I found quite interesting. It was. They've just tried to be better and better and better each year, but all they can really do is improve or change the format, but at the expense of the game itself, if that makes any sort of sense. I don't know if I'm making sense with that. But
no, you absolutely are. I've never personally played a Call of Duty game simply because I don't like shouting obscenities at random strangers over the internet. But no, I'm just kidding. Call of Duty fans, just kidding. I know there's some good, reasonable people out there who play Call of Duty. But actually, no, I enjoy first-person shooters when they're really story-based. Like, I don't know if you remember the Fear franchise. FEAR. Like, it had little dots, like it was an acronym.
I vaguely can remember it.
Well, it was like a supernatural first-person shooter.
Ah, that's right. Yes, I do remember it now, yes. That was scary as all hell, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, I enjoyed it. I never did any multiplayer, because to be successful in multiplayer in those kind of games, you need a certain level of hand-eye coordination that I don't really have. I mean, strategy games, as you can kind of tell, are more my thing, slower, more thought. I'm
the same, but I actually, when I got into gaming in a big way, I actually joined a group of people called the Older Gamers, and they actually have squads and clans that basically go and compete in the esports, and it's not about how good you are, it's just about how much fun you have. And that was so much fun, I've got to say. I just loved it. It was incredibly good. And and that was, we used to play Call of Duty with that, and that was competitively, and it was really fond memories of that.
My kind of multiplayer is kind of like what we're doing right now, just kind of casual and fun, almost more like you're hanging out with your friends and also gaming. I
prefer that, to be honest, as well. Like it's it's always a little nagging question whether the person you're going to be sort of actually playing with is going to prefer to be playing competitively or cooperatively. And I would always prefer to play cooperatively, unless, like, it was funny because with that last Dominions 4 play, that was competitive and it was really, really good. But I don't know. I prefer this, to be honest. It is, as you say, it's just like hanging out.
You know what's funny?
Opposite sides of the planet.
It's odd to me because if anybody watches my channel, and if you're watching this series on my channel, then hopefully you have, I really like to get into story, get into character, and yet the one thing that I just don't like about Dominions 4 multiplayer is the diplomacy, is the writing letters back and forth to other nations like, "Hi, we are the mighty nation of Ulm," and blah, blah, blah. You know, all that posturing. It just doesn't do it for me. I don't know why not. Again, you'd think that it would. You'd think that it would be something that I would really get into.
That really surprises me. Oh, you got blue. Okay, so we've just got orange left. No, that's that. I'm shocked.
Well, because I saw that you were doing that in your series, in that multiplayer game, and quite successfully. You were role playing your nation and your communications with the other nations. For me, I guess if I were to play Dominions 4 multiplayer, I'd be more technical. I wouldn't actually pretend to be my nation. I would just try to win, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, which that's fine as well. But I think the diplomacy really adds that extra veneer to the actual game itself. Which, as I say, I really enjoyed it. Just thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay, I've got a battle going on. It looks like the orange really can't last. So how much time have we got before it finishes? It must be pretty. Oh, there we go, 42 or 45. So not too long to go.
Yeah, you did the heavy lifting. You took out orange and whatever used to be down there, and I took out blue after a lot of hard work.
Well, you had a pretty hard start.
But so what aspects of that multiplayer game would you say you liked the best?
Oh, I think for me it was because we actually did manage to show what I think is what what the diplomacy in the multiplayer Dominions is all about, and that for me was really special. That's what I was really hoping for when we started, that was going to be what we were going to be able to actually do, and we did that in spades. I think it was very, very good, and it was really interesting because when we actually dissected it, each of us, had very, very different ideas as to what was going on in the game, and so on that score, that was also fascinating. It was just really, really fascinating. So no, I just found the psychology of that game was absolutely brilliant.
Now, the one other thing I was thinking about is that, like, for example, when Tokshin and I did our multiplayer Dominions game, it was just the two of us, and it was really short, like only 3 episodes, because it was a quick little blitz game. So I could see someone watching my 3 episodes and then watching Tokshin's 3 episodes to kind of get both sides of the story. But in your series, there were 4 players, and they each had something like, 20 videos? I just couldn't imagine somebody watching the game, I guess, twice. Like, if someone's going to watch it on your channel, I highly doubt they're going to commit 20 episodes to one of the other guys' channels. You know what I mean?
I think I played many more episodes than anybody else. I think that Wadestar initially was playing about 5 episodes, 5 turns per episode initially, and then sort of got down to 1 per episode. Actually, 1 or 2, I think. Dwarf Comic was pretty much consistently 3 or 4 all the way through, and and Sabouts, he was also about 3 or 4 consistently as well. So it actually. It was me that was the one that was going slow, but I made no apologies for that because it's just what I do, Like it's I often think I should try to move things along a little bit when I am playing games, but I just don't play fast.
Well, I wasn't really referring to that. I'm just saying that if someone watched your series and they know what happened in the game, there's not a lot of motivation for them to then go and watch someone else's.
Yes and no. Once again, I think that where it really got interesting was because we were almost treating our audience like it was as if we were colluding with them, and we didn't know what the others were thinking, and that was really where it did your head in. Like, it really did your head in at times, and so it was that I found that really fascinating to actually just that aspect of it was. You'd sort of always be sort of second guessing what was going to happen, and like, as I say, each of us didn't really know where the other people were, what they were thinking, who was going to stab us in the back, and it was really fascinating on that score. Like, it was just really tense. Like, it was massively tense. Okay, it's the last turn, I think.
Yeah.
Coming up.
No, but I wonder what happens since Orange, is still alive. I wonder if it just says, well, we have more territory, so we win.
It would come down to those victory points, I'm guessing. Last turn, make it count.
Oh, we've been making it count.
Yes. There's not much else I can do, really, so I'm just going to end my turn there.
I wonder if I could use... I'm going to use my To the Rescue card. Travel across the world.
You're not in a battle, are you? Oh, yes, you are. Yeah.
Against the neutrals. I mean, we're doing a little overkill now. Something like 15 artillery against one guy. Yeah, here we come. 71 total troops against one guy guarding this fort. One archer. Hey, you know what? He got a shot off.
Stop with a bang.
he got one shot off.
Okay, DasTactic and their team. Does it say you or does it say me?
It says you. I think probably because between the two of us, you have far more victory points.
Okay, so there we go. All
Oh,
right.
V for victory. Yeah, I mean, look at the gap there. You had 880, I had 580.
Yeah. Yeah, even so, you did crawl back.
I'm
You didn't
actually. Go ahead.
Yeah, the troops hired weren't that different.
And the territories controlled at the end of the day. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
percentage-wise, they were pretty different. I mean, 12 and 17 are vastly different. They just don't look that different when you really look at them as numbers.
That's what happened last time as well, I think, from memory. Like it was a seesawing thing, but in the end, you had a lot of territories actually. I think, but you weren't like with 2 or 3 turns to go from memory in the last one. We were pretty even, I think, up to that point. So actually, no, they did. It was one of each of the different types of enemy as well.
I just noticed here that some of our enemies were pretty metal in their names. We got Ice Claw, Talon Scar. I think I heard both those bands at one point. Actually,
No, that was good.
Those are the guys you were fighting, and then I had Cedric.
Well, Cedric proved to be pretty formidable, really.
Yeah, Cedric was so. So what? Actually, you were incorrect in that they did not have the Stoneborne. Looks like Ice Claw was the. Well, Talonscar was the undead, Cedric was the humans, and Ice Claw was the Fae, or the bear people.
Yeah. I thought Talonscar was Stoneborne, but he wasn't.
So that's good. So that means people who watched at least your episodes get to see the Revenants and the Fae, and the people who were watching mine got to see the Humies.
Yep. No, it was good fun actually. I guess we should make sure that we do point at each other's videos in this one as well.
Yeah.
And so, I guess, do you break up at all with your work from for Christmas, or do you just sort of work all the way through?
Well, we get, what is it? I think Christmas falls on a Monday this year.
I haven't even looked, to be honest.
So I think we get a couple days off, but it's not like, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you know this in Australia too. When we were in college, you got like a month off. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, once you join the working world, I know a lot of our viewers are probably in college or even younger. Maybe once you start working, vacations aren't what they used to be.
No, and when you work for yourself, it's very hard to get one.
I can imagine.
I can only ever afford to go away for about a week at maximum at any time. So.
Now, I thought you were going to attempt to move away a little bit from your work and more, I guess, into the channel.
Yes, yeah, and I'm still working towards that. It's but it's one of those things. I think when you try different things, most of the things you try don't work. It's just a matter of keeping on trying different things to sort of try to get to the levels that you need. I'm about 10% of the way of where I would need to be. And as far as making it like an actual job, but if I was 20% of the way along, that would be about comfortable for me. So I need to be about 5 times larger than what I am at the moment to make it so that it's like a second income to a degree, like a half and half.
And I think that's hard too, because of nowadays, it feels to me like everybody has a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's sort of. I don't know how you've sort of found it, but I've sort of found that sometimes you just get lucky and you just get like a bit of a boost in views, and then other times you'll just sort of wallow and stagnate at a certain level for months.
I think I'm there actually. I think that's why I think I'm stagnating right now, because I've been between 9,500 and 10,000 for what feels like 2 months now, and I'm just crawling my way up, but. It's not that big a deal to me in the sense that I'm never going to make this a job or even a second income, because one thing I've noticed about the people that I know that are full-time YouTube content creators is that they live in areas where the cost of living is relatively low.
Oh, okay.
And
yep.
I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, so in order for me to be able to live off a YouTube income, I would have to have like over 1 million subscribers. And considering it's taken me 3 whole years to get to just under 10,000, I just don't see that. I don't see that happening.
I don't know. I've seen other people though where they sort of say they get to a certain milestone and then all of a sudden it'll just accelerate. Like there's a lot of lot of YouTube people, when they actually talk about how they got to where they are, the ones that actually have made it, they'll say that like the vast majority of their growth will all happen within a very short period of time. So I guess it's just one of those things where as long as you're in there doing it, eventually, hopefully, something will kick in at some point. That's what I'm hoping for anyway.
Yeah, I think I've pretty much made the decision that I will not be monetizing my channel. I'm just going to continue doing it as a hobby just for fun. And I think, I still have a sense of commitment to the people who watch my channel. So I want to produce videos. I want to keep them coming out. But I guess I feel less desperate if I just want to take a week off, or if I just want to, if I'm like, well, I'm really tired today, I don't feel well, I don't need to upload. Whereas if I was depending on YouTube to, keep a roof over my head, that would be something that I couldn't consider.
That's a good point, actually. And that's actually something that I've always, when I started, I tried to start the way that I would, like, no matter what happened, that's the way I wanted to continue on. That's why I probably don't answer as many comments as I probably should. I read a lot more than what I comment, but I don't actually answer all that many, just because of, once again, time constraints with my other work. And it is funny. I know what you mean though. Like when it becomes a job, then the whole reason for doing it has gone out the window, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Like for example, I'm having so much fun playing this Quest for Glory 4 series, and the videos maybe get 200 views. I mean, I was producing videos that got 200 views 2 years ago, and if that was an issue, like if I was depending on this, I would obviously not do that. I'd be only putting out Dominions 4 or Dwarf Fortress or whatever gets the highest views, because I'd be thinking of it very commercially. And
yes, yeah.
I'm glad that I don't have to do that. I'm glad that I can just put out something enjoyable, and it goes without saying, but whenever I get video ready for production, whenever I'm going through the editing process, I'm about ready to upload it, and I think, wow, that was a great video, Marcus. Like you did a good job. Universally, that one's going to get no views.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. It's but as you say, like if it doesn't matter, then at least you've enjoyed it. Yeah,
that's what it is. You get your own satisfaction out of it. Like for me, it's the little things. It's like, wow, I watched this whole 20-minute episode and I didn't cut out any audio. Like, yes, good job.
It's funny because like the best game, like the most interesting battles that I had were with a game called what is it? I can't remember. It's a Pike and Shot. It's the new Pike and Shot game, and it's based in China. And I mean, not many people watch it, but that was by far, in gameplay, it was the most enjoyable battles that I've ever played in any game. They were really tight. Every battle was on a knife edge, and it was you sort of think, well, it's at the end of the day, really, it's what you enjoy playing. And for me, that game was just incredible as an actual war game. It's funny.
Oriental Empires, is that what it's called?
No. I've actually tried to record that one. I've keep on meaning to come back to it to record one for Oriental Empires. No, this was Sengoku Jidai.
And it was more of a hardcore strategy game?
It sort of is. It's not. It's mainly about actually protecting your troops' morale when they fight, so that they won't run. And so you don't really you don't wipe out armies. You're only you might wipe out 10% of an army and win the battle. But it's all about actually just trying to sort of erode morale and get them to run from the battlefield. Kind
of like real life. I mean,
yes.
You never hear of historical battles where 100% of one army was wiped out. I mean, I guess it happens occasionally, like Thermopylae or something like that, but you don't hear about it a lot.
Yeah, it's just funny with the pronunciations. When you said that, I like for me it's Thermopylae. Is that so?
No, I'm probably just pronouncing it wrong.
Oh, okay.
No, I do not claim to be the official American translator of that word. For all I know, people.
Sorry, just think, which one? Oh, yeah, no, it's
Thermopylae. Yeah, for all I know, people next door pronounce it that way. I don't know.
Well, I can't talk because I get corrected all the time on my channel for the pronunciations or mispronunciations of different words. So, but no, this game, Sengoku Jidai, really is. It's a very, very accurate sort of rendition of the actual games. And so when an army retreats, they actually retreat with still most of their forces intact. So the next battle is still going to be tight. It's very, very well done. So that's, and for me, but once again, like it's not a game that people really wanted to watch, So even though for me it was probably the best battles I've played in the game, it was really, really interesting for me. But I guess, and I'm guessing you're the same. Like I mainly I record what I like, and it's not really so much about getting the views. It's just about playing what you like.
Yeah, and that's great. I think that leads to at least videos that are more honest, like because you're actually into them.
Well, I think I agree with you.
I was just about to go on a tangent because you mentioned the retreating, and I like to have little thought exercises sometimes, and so I put myself in that position. I like, okay, let's say I was a soldier in a Byzantine army that's marching against whomever, the Arabs, let's say, and all of a sudden, like, the center cuts and runs. Like, it's just chaos. And I'm thinking, okay, what would I do? Because you think, okay, well, if you turn your back, you're a target. I mean, a horseman can come and cut you down in 5 seconds, your life is over, right? I mean, it's one thing if you're playing a game, but it's a whole different thing if you're imagining this is my life. But if you stand and fight, you'll be more defended. But if everybody around you is running, eventually you're going to get captured or killed too. So I'm just sitting here going, these poor people.
Yeah,
What kind of life is that?
I didn't think it took much actually to get armies to run back in that era. To be honest, it was sort of one of those things where the disciplined armies used to win mainly because they would stay on the field a bit longer than the others would have. I think that's why the Romans did so well against barbarians, as the barbarians didn't have the discipline levels.
Oh man, I was reading this book right now about the Roman emperors, the Roman Principate, and sometimes when they had civil wars, the armies would be fighting 3 days straight. Like they might take breaks, but like that's how disciplined they were. They were able to keep going for 3 days. Yeah.
No, it's interesting. I think that, and when you look back at the Roman wars, it was probably really only Carthage that actually had the same sort of levels of discipline. And even then, I don't even know if they really had the same levels.
I mean, maybe Macedon, and then the Parthians. The Parthians gave as good as they got.
Yep.
But then again, they had better. They knew the terrain better. They had better horsemen at the time. So there's a lot to that. But when it came to massed infantry tactics, I mean, there was no one that can compete or stand up to the Romans of that time period. Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of other channels at the moment, actually, where they cover famous battles in history. I just like watching, people actually talk about the history of it more so than playing a game as such, and it's quite interesting actually. Just the way that often a commander would just through their own force of will make something happen, which is, as I say, quite interesting.
I think something that people like us in the modern age don't think about enough is just how good we have it. So for those of you watching this, I mean, if you take nothing else from this episode, we are able to live lives basically of our own choosing in relative safety, whereas in all these historical periods that we enjoy playing games representing, I mean, people just had terrible lives and they had no control over what they did. They were constantly under threat. It's amazing just how fortunate we are to be born in this time period in well, at least you and I, Daz, in quote unquote developed countries. It's a completely different human life than it was in the time periods that I enjoy like reading about.
Yeah, and I guess it is that contrast too that actually does make it so just so interesting actually when you do look at histories and and I guess you've got that sort of like that length of time as well where there's no personal connection to tragedies that would go on. I mean, World War II I think would probably be the closest of the big anything big that would have happened, and I certainly know that like my wife's parents were in Europe during that period, and it still impacts them sort of psychologically, just what they went through as children. So it's sort of we are lucky though in the era that we live in at this stage. Anyway, hopefully nothing will change.
Yeah, hopefully. And I have to be careful to say, people in the countries that we're in, because I know there are parts of the world right now that are going through upheavals and periods of stress. So
absolutely, yeah. No, I think that like in America and Australia, we're very lucky to be in such stable continents. Really, it's I guess particularly where we are in Australia. I mean, we've got no land-based neighbours at all. So everyone's got to come by ocean. So we can really isolate ourselves very, very easily. I don't think is there another country another large country that's in the same category? I think. I mean, even England had its own internal disputes, but
well, I think maybe Japan certainly it doesn't have the landmass of Australia, but it has a lot more population, I think.
That's true, yeah.
But I don't know. They're so close to China that they still have to kind of, I guess, pay attention to what's going on over there.
Yeah.
But so as far as Australia, like a country that far away from any other power center, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's like when you actually do add the that veneer of needing to cross water, it certainly adds a big barrier. Even if it's a river, like it's in a lot of these sort of games that we do play, rivers probably aren't as big a problem in the actual game itself as what they actually were in reality, because rivers were massive obstacles.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many works about the Romans to talk about the Rhine and the Danube and just how formidable an obstacle they were to the migration of the barbarian peoples, at least when they weren't frozen.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting, isn't it? Really, topography and just the whole way that when we sort of play these, I guess, they're simulations as much as anything. Really, it is interesting. And of course, you really do focus on that Roman era, don't you? That's your main area of interest.
Not the Roman Principate of like Marcus Aurelius and the Augustine emperors. More the Eastern Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, starting with like. Let's say, well, in my history series, I started with Diocletian, but really it's kind of started with Arcadius, and when they really split up and became separate political entities. So that's my focus, is more on the medieval Eastern Roman or Byzantine Empire as opposed to the traditional togas and legions Rome.
Okay, that's more after Constantine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. So was it before Constantine that they actually split, or was it afterwards?
It was afterwards when they split as political entities. I mean, Diocletian came before Constantine, and he split up the empire administratively, but he was still the emperor of it all. I mean, he had other co-emperors, but they still kind of worked together as a team. They were like the United States of Rome.
Yes. Yeah.
But then with Arcadius and Honorius, which came after Constantine, they were two separate and often hostile political entities, so that's when they really became different countries in that sense.
And they really the Byzantine Empire that was still strong well into the Middle Ages, wasn't it?
Yes, it was able to strengthen itself while the Western Roman Empire kind of fell apart and was taken over by the countries that we know and love today, like France and Germany and Spain. Yeah. They were. A lot of people refer to their history as a long period of decline. Like they never got to the heights that they had, maybe say under Justinian. They had moments of resurgence, but for the most part, it was just kind of a really long, very subtle downward slope until finally they were conquered by the Turks. But yes, they lasted as a political entity into the 1400s.
Actually, I was going to ask you. I meant to tell you, ask you at the time. Actually, there was a really good series on Justinian and Theodora that. Extra Credits did. I don't know if you've seen that YouTube series. No,
but I'll check it out.
Yeah, have a look at it. It's very, very good. It's about Justinian and Theodora, his wife, and very, very interesting. Really, and they've actually, I think they've even got some other series that they've done around that where they've actually then looked at the Ottomans at the same time and the rise of the Ottomans and those sorts of things all in that sort of era. It was very interesting. Very interesting series. I can't remember the exact. I'm probably getting all of that wrong, but I do remember Justinian was actually, I think it might have been about 6 or 7 episodes. But very, very well done.
Well, I'll definitely check it out. Shouldn't be too hard to find.
Yeah, just look up extra credits. Extra credits history. It's they do a great job of like whenever they do tackle histories, they've actually got an episode at the very end of all the things that they got wrong during the recording of the actual series itself, which is really good. Like they actually cover everything, and even some, if they've actually made any sort of artistic license with something, they'll actually then talk about that in that last episode as well. So yeah, it's a great series. Like it's we went to Korea sort of halfway through the year. Our daughter is over there, and so we went to visit her, and so you just basically, I was just watching all of those for all that era. Like they've got all different sorts of histories all over the world, and it's just great.
Well, that's really cool.
I guess we've gone over time a bit. So,
yeah, we've kind of sauntered past 35 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, just want to remind you, this is Legends of Callasia with the Stoneborne. Is it Stoneborne expansion pack?
Yep.
Or is that right? Am I doing that right?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Well, that's how I think of it.
And by Boom Zap Entertainment. And my conclusion is pretty much the same conclusion that we reached after the first time we played it. It's a really fun little game. It can be done relatively quickly. It's got kind of a simple mechanic, but there's a lot to it. Like, I actually had a lot of fun this time fighting for my life, whereas last time it was a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think we played on normal last time.
Mm. So imagine how difficult it is if you put it up to like Nightmare or whatever.
No, that was good fun though. That was interesting. It was good.
Yeah,
I had a pretty easy time of it this time. Like it was, there wasn't too much that challenged me. Like they didn't invade my lands, whereas they were right in the middle of your lands, weren't they?
Well, he never got into my territory, but it was constant, kind of like World War I trench warfare.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recommend it. It's a simple game. It's fun. You can pick it up really quickly, but I suspect that with a lot of experience, you can master it.
Yeah, I think there'd be a lot to it. Like this, I certainly know that when I'm playing it, I don't really understand what each unit is doing in the battles. Like I know there's two phases. There's a missile and then a melee phase, and I did notice that when I was picking a certain sort of troop, they were actually able to protect the other units during the missile phase. So, yeah, I know that we didn't really spend a lot of time trying to sort of get to the nitty-gritty of actually how they worked. But, yeah, very, very good game.
Yep. All right. Well, Daz, thank you once again. I always enjoy collaborating with you.
Yeah, likewise, actually, Marcus. So it's I always really do enjoy that. We've got to do this more often.
Yeah, absolutely. And best of luck with all of your future projects. I always keep an eye on your homepage and just see what's going on.
Yeah, no, and I've taken an interest in I would love to talk more actually on what you sort of found playing Dwarf Fortress the way that you played it, because I thought that was just such a unique way of actually approaching it. I'm really, really so interested to hear that so many of your actual subscribers that were named in that first fortress ended up migrating across to your new fortress. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool because what it allows you to do is it allows you to not have to worry about training up peasants basically into really good craftsmen, because there's always a chance that, like, for example, one of my masons was my starting mason from the first fortress. They came in already legendary +5 or +7, whatever the most legendary is, right off the bat.
Gee, that'd be awesome. And did you play the same kingdom?
Yeah, that's how to make it work. If you play a different kingdom, then they won't transfer over.
Okay. Yep.
So all the games are going to be using the kingdom. They're called the Oaken Flags.
Right. Yes. Yep. Okay. Well, look, I guess we better leave it there.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time, Marcus. That was a lot of fun.
Have a good one.
Yep. See you later.